What's up, everybody? Justin Melo and Justin Graver here from the Music City Audible podcast, back with another exclusive YouTube breakdown. And today we are giving you our picks for MVP. Who's the favorite? We're going to possibly pick a heavy favorite guy and also throw in a sleeper option for you. So if you're tuning in, thank you for tuning in on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, please, and drop a comment below. Who's your pick for MVP? Before we give our picks, I'm going to run through some of the odds really quick. So the favorites this year, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are tied with Josh Allen, all plus 700. They are the favorites. Right behind them is Justin Herbert plus 900, Jalen Hurts plus 1200, Lamar Jackson plus 1500, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott all plus 1600. And then everybody's favorite sleeper this year, according to what I've looked up, Justin Fields is plus 2000. So Justin Mello, who do you have winning MVP this year?
Well, my go-to pick, I'm going to be boring here, but I do think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I've looked around the league. I think the Chiefs are still by far the best team in the NFL, in all honesty. You look at their contenders, the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think any of them had a good enough offseason to dethrone the Chiefs. So I don't care about being boring if I'm right. I've got the Chiefs repeating as Super Bowl champions. I know they've lost some things, Juju Smith-Schuster at receiver, new bookends at left and right tackle. That's certainly interesting. But ultimately, I think they're still the best team in the NFL. Andy Reid's still the best head coach in the NFL. Supporting cast is good enough. Travis Kelce's their number one receiver. Lots of playmakers that can ascend and become bigger contributors at the wideout position. I like Patrick Mahomes to win MVP.
I mean, he won it last year. He's been getting votes every year. There's no question about it. Now, real quick, if you're betting on MVP and you don't bet on a quarterback, you are throwing your money away. If you're curious who the highest non-quarterback is, it's Justin Jefferson at plus 10,000 odds. Ooh. That's behind Sam Howell, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy, and Trey Lance are, both of them have better odds than what you get from Justin Jefferson. Jordan Love, Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, all these guys are higher than Justin Jefferson, who is the highest non-quarterback. So don't throw your money away betting on a non-quarterback. This award has gone to a quarterback almost every year. The most recent time it didn't was 2012 when Adrian Peterson won it. So bet on a quarterback if you're betting on MVP. Another thing to know about the MVP award, it's very narrative driven. Players that win MVP are on winning teams. Your team has got to be one of the best teams in the league, winning their division, competing for the number one overall seed, and in talks to win a Super Bowl that year. So if you're betting on a guy that you think is just going to have a great year, but he's not on a great team, I would avoid that kind of bet. And the guy I'm talking about there is Justin Fields. You'll see it everywhere. Everyone's picking Justin Fields as the popular sleeper MVP pick, a guy projected to make a big leap as the Bears added offensive weapons around him. He gets the rushing yards with his legs. People think he could have a Lamar Jackson style MVP season the way Lamar did a few years ago. I don't buy it though, because I don't think the Bears are going to be a good enough team. Are they even going to win their division? The Lions are good. The Vikings were so good last year. Even the Packers with Jordan Love could be better than the Bears are this year. Don't necessarily believe in the coaching staff. And I just don't believe that the Bears are going to be a 12 or 13 win team, which you almost have to be at least an 11 win team to win MVP. So I would hold off on Justin Fields. My pick is actually Jalen Hurts. Now, the one scary concern here with Jalen Hurts is that he could get injured. And if a guy gets injured, they're almost guaranteed to not win MVP. Jalen Hurts was on track to be very heavily considered for MVP last season, but he missed the last few weeks of the year dealing with a shoulder injury. So Patrick Mahomes became the runaway winner of the award. I'm a little wary that Jalen Hurts could get hurt, but one thing that's interesting to me, he only threw 22 passing touchdowns last year, 13 rushing touchdowns last year, compared to someone like Patrick Mahomes, who threw 41 touchdowns last year. I don't know if Hurts is ever going to get close to that, but I do think the Eagles defense is going to be worse. And if you've seen the stats out there about how little passing the Eagles did in the second half, because they were winning by so many points in almost every second half, they didn't have to score a lot of points in the second halves last year. Well, with a slightly worse defense, with some of their better pieces departing in free agency, I know they had a great draft, but you can't always rely on rookies to come in and contribute right away. I think the Eagles could need to score more in the second half. So that's why I think Jalen Hurts could see an uptick in production, especially second half production. He's already got the narrative to go along with it because, he carried his team to the Super Bowl last year. They weren't able to win it. He became the highest paid player in NFL history over the offseason until Lamar Jackson barely beat him out. If he can take a little step up in production, especially if he needs to do more in second halves, I love Jalen Hurts to win this award, especially at the odds you're getting for him at plus 1,200, plus 1,100, depending on the book you're looking at.
I mean, look, I'm not going to go against you there. I mean, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be a terrific team again. Maybe I'm too boring because I've got a Super Bowl repeat of last year's Super Bowl this year. I got the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles are by far the best team in the NFC. I don't really like what I'm seeing from that conference at all. And as I've mentioned, I've got the Chiefs as favorites to win again. So if Philadelphia makes it all the way back to the Super Bowl, which I think they're very capable of doing, despite some of the overturn they've experienced, losing a guy guy like Javon Hargrave on defense, losing Miles Sanders on offense. If they make it all the way back there, then Jalen Hurts is going to be a fierce contender for the most valuable player award.
I'll throw two more names out at you. Number one that I kind of like, but I'm also scared of, Justin Herbert. He's currently plus 900 to win the award. Now, this is a guy who could also have the narrative on his side. He's already won an Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He has one of the best arms in football for a quarterback. He's playing for the Chargers, who brought in Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, expected to be a huge leap from where they were last year. They also drafted Quentin Johnston in the first round, so adding weapons to a room that's already stacked with weapons with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. This is a guy that could put up numbers, but I'm scared here too because, I don't think the Chargers are going to be an 11 or 12 win team. I don't think that they have been as good as they needed to be under Brandon Staley the last few years. I think he's in the hot seat, as we saw, the offseason conversation where he was able to keep his job. But I think Kellen Moore was brought in this year. I mean, he was hired by Brandon Staley, but he's also a guy that could be, if Brandon Staley gets axed mid-season or at the end of the season, it could be a Kellen Moore promotion, next guy in line waiting. So I'm a little hesitant of what the Chargers could be, although I like Justin Herbert. I think he has a lot going for him from a production and a narrative side, but I'm staying away from that. My sleeper pick here, if it's not Jalen Hurts, I'm going Aaron Rodgers. This is a guy MVP voters love to give him the MVP award. He's won it 3 times in his career, including 2 of the last 3 years. Going to the Jets, again, this award is very narrative driven. If the Jets take a huge leap this year, a lot of people thought it was just the quarterback that was holding them back last season. Well, if they take a huge leap this year with a new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is going to get a lot of the credit media narratively for turning this team around. He's got an excellent group of receivers to throw to. Garrett Wilson, the offensive rookie of the year. They signed Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb, guys that Aaron Rodgers is familiar with, even if they're not necessarily game breakers. Still have Corey Davis. The Jets win 12 games, which is definitely in the cards. I think he's a guy that could be a sleeper pick.
Not to mention that he plays in a big media market, right? That always helps. My sleeper pick, and you brought him up briefly, but you probably didn't think I was going to go this route, is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is healthy this year, and he can recapture some of that magic. I look at what they've done this offseason. A new offensive coordinator in Todd Monken that I think was a really good hire. He's going to make them a bit pass happier than they've been in recent years. That leaves room for Jackson to improve some of the statistics. He's working with the best supporting cast of wide receivers he's ever had in Baltimore. They signed Odell Beckham Jr. in free agency. They drafted Zay Flowers in the first round. Rashad Bateman is coming back. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully J.K. Dobbins is healthy. They've still got Mark Andrews at tight end. I really like this Baltimore offense, and I don't think it's getting enough credit. Obviously, Jackson's health is a huge caveat. He's got to stay healthy. He's played only 12 games in back-to-back years. But if he can stay healthy, he plays 16, 17 games. I think the Ravens, you talked about they got to win games. I think they can win 10, 11, 12 games this year. I really like what they did this offseason. Again, a lot of it will depend on Jackson. But for me, like with Justin Fields, I don't see that at all. Like if I was going to take a long shot, and maybe Jackson isn't considered a long shot, but what is he, 1,500? Oh, no brainer. Are you kidding me? Plus 1,500 on, I'll take the plus 1,500 on Lamar Jackson over the plus 2,000 on Justin Fields every day of the week.
He's got an MVP award under his belt already, so you know that the voters will give it to him if he has the great season. I totally agree with everything you said. And narrative-wise, if they beat the Bengals are viewed as one of the best teams in the league. Joe Burrow tied for MVP favorite. If they're able to beat them, which they definitely are capable of doing, that's going to drive the narrative towards Lamar Jackson is back. He could win comeback player of the year, and he could win MVP as well. I like your pick. So those are our picks for MVP. If you agree or disagree, let us know in the comments below. Who's your pick for MVP? Subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Music City Audible will have more of these award pick videos coming over the next few weeks. So stay tuned. If you're subscribed to the channel, you'll get a notification as soon as they drop. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back soon. Till then, tighten up.